Hey everybody, Casey Currie here. Excited to be back on with Driving Line and Nitto. Man, once again, another crazy week. I actually spent the weekend in Havasu at the river, 110-degree weather, but man, enjoying my time at home, and right now still prepping for Vegas to Reno for myself. We got Jeepers Jamboree coming up at the end of the month, and got some traveling going. But right now, I'm excited. Man, a longtime friend, a mentor, somebody that's been in the industry way longer than I have, and just an all-around great guy. And one of the reasons that for myself to be on the Nitto Tire brand, Chris Corbett has done a tremendous amount for the sport. Ultra 4 racing, which to me is basically my bread and butter of what I truly enjoy as an athlete of racing an all-wheel drive vehicle, 800 horsepower, unlimited rules, in rocks, in the dirt, and going fast. Chris is a huge ambassador of that and has made a lot happen. The sport has grown a crazy amount since his involvement, and man, I'm excited to have him on. So, Chris, thank you so much for joining in today.
Man, that was pretty nice of you there.
That
was a pretty nice intro.
Dude, it's real, man. You've done a tremendous amount for the sport of off-road. Obviously, we've known each other for a really, really long time. So
yeah, I can remember back when you're in the Nissan Art Schmidt days, and then probably before that a little bit. But when you started racing short course, I think we spent a little more time together.
Yeah,
that was back in 03, maybe 04.
I will. One little thing about that, real quick, on the Nissan aspect is that technically Nissan or Nitto Tires was actually my first sponsor. They were my title sponsor. And they actually got me my first podium, my first win. And, pretty amazing that I'm actually back on the brand that got it all started. So,
well, I remember that. I remember being there and bugging you, when the opportunity presented itself, just bugging you, saying, it'd be cool if you could swing back over, so we could connect the dots on some stuff. I promise we'll be able to change a tire. Some of those early days were rough, right?
Yeah. No, it's been fantastic. And the other thing, I mean, the cool thing about the brand is the fact that it's not just about style and it's not just about performance, but it's about the complete package, right? And that's one thing that I love about Nitto is from the racing days of when it's super competitive on the track, like obviously the performance matters, but also when it comes to looking good and having all the features that a tire needs to have, like, dude, not only 15 years ago did you have it, but it's still today the absolute top of the line product for all the needs of racing, jeeping, and the wife's Yukon that she drives every day.
Yeah.
So
yeah, we've got a pretty good team. I mean, we're a small niche, tire company in the grand scheme of things, I think. But I think as far as product development and where our team sits in kind of both the dealer, the dealer base and the consumer base, I think that's one thing over the years I think that we really excel at, just listening to the customer.
Yeah.
Just reading trends. I mean, things change. I mean, what was cool today isn't always cool tomorrow type thing. So just trying to look into it, and technology's changed a lot in tires too. I think that helps a lot.
For me, what's amazing to see is that you were able to, obviously the Ultra 4 team that you guys have, you've put together an amazing tire, and obviously, knock on wood, I have yet to change the Ultra 4 tire. So very blessed, but
amazing.
It's pretty. Yeah, I've raced 3 Baja 1000s, 3 Baja 500s, and 3 Mints, and we haven't had to change a tire yet. So with that, though, I would say that seeing what I got to see firsthand was when you guys built a UTV tire and taking what the tread, the way the tread feels, the way the tread works, the way the sidewall works, and actually taking something from an Ultra 4 tire or the racing 40-inch tire and bringing it down to a 32 that isn't heavy. It doesn't rip lugs off. It doesn't have any funny characteristics because of the modifications done, yet it has so many similarities. All other brands that I see have a specific UTV tire. They do their own UTV compounds to try to react to other things, and you guys were able to bring that. And for me, like racing the King, without the flats and actually feeling how good the tire works versus other brands. It's very impressive on the engineering going behind those tires.
No, we got a good team, and you know, the fundamentals I think were there for us, and that we could learn from and pull from, which was King of Hammers and Ultra 4. So, you know, again, I mean, what you're driving in a 4400 car is, you know, 700-800 horsepower, all-wheel drive, you know, 40 install tire. Does that same translation, you know, does it scale down to a 220 horsepower car?
Yep.
You know, 1,800 pounds. I mean, it in some respects, I mean, we learned a lot from the 4400 tire and the development there just to even get into the UTV game. So, and again, just listening. It's not for everybody. I mean, it is a soft compound tire, you know, but it is a good, you know, I think it's a good balance if you're doing rock, if you're doing mud, tree roots, you know, wheeling and weather in Washington or Johnson Valley. I think it does good. Yeah. So, and proof's been in the pudding. I mean, we've had a lot of positive feedback on it. So yeah, it's been good.
No, it's been good. So, well, let's get off the tires. Dude, everybody, I want to know, let's get the recap. Chris Corbett, obviously marketing of Nitto Tires today. I mean, you've been in the industry a long time. Where'd you come from? What have you done?
Look, I probably have a little bit of my dad to thank to kick things off. You know, when I was a kid, we had the Kingdome up here, and we had the Mickey Thompson Stadium short course racing, you know, that used to come through. And my dad was friends with a operations director and a booking guy at the Kingdome. So my dad would round me up and like, hey, you know, Mickey Thompson's coming to town. You want to go? And, you know, we'd go down, we do a lot of events at the Kingdome, but I think I was really bit by the motorsports bug early on, you know, going to some of those early short course races. So fast forward years later, I mean, I don't know. I fell into Jeeps and trucks and buggies, probably like every other kid, you know, and couldn't afford to pay anybody to fix it. So, you know, you learn how to do it yourself. Yep. And you just keep kind of plugging away. And yeah, I've been very blessed to be in an industry that I love and enjoy it. You know, I wouldn't trade it for the world.
So you're at Nitto now. So, I mean, where have you worked? Because
I mean, I did a stint for about 5 years or so, 6 years with 2 different Australian companies. So that was a little interesting. I headed up operations and direction for both TJM here in North America, which is a kind of an ARB knockoff, and Light Force, which was a lighting company back in the day. Which Light Force was a lot of fun because that brought us back. You know, back then we were sponsoring Rod Hall, you know, Pistol Pete. It brought me back into motorsports, or kept me in motorsports. Because before that I was with Jim Ryan and the Dirt Sports Magazine group, which I came on board with that in like 03 or 04, probably 03, right? When I think you were doing the short course stuff. So the Dirt Sports thing, again, it kept me kind of in motorsports, kept me in truck, kept me in, it was a lot of fun, a lot of travel. I got into Dirt Sports based kind of on I lived up here in Seattle, and I had I was an advertiser in all back then I think it was the Prime Media magazines or McMullen Argus, and there was a guy named Jim Ryan, and he says, I want to start this magazine. It's going to be all about motorsports, and we're going to have this cool, like, you know, magazine called Off-Road Retailer that'll be all about business. And like, I fully saw the vision, you know. I mean, Jim really had a great vision back then. So at the time I was partnered in with a guy named Larry Trim at Trail Ready, and we were making beadlocks and bumpers, and the economy kind of slipped out there in 01 or 02. And Jim, you know, at that time he had pulled on under the Advanced Star group, which was another publishing group. And he's like, why don't you move to California and, you know, come and do some motorsports and you know, come and help us with sales in the magazines and the trade show. You know, we had Off-Road Retailer, business B2B trade show in Vegas there, in Anaheim. it was a really good time in motorsports, as you know. I mean, money was flowing, things were great. I mean, there was a lot of fun back then, a lot of fun. So I don't know. I mean, I just always kind of been in it. I mean, before that, I spent time at, I did some drivetrain work. I worked for Randy Lyman at Yukon Gear and Axle, or Randy's Ring and Pinion up here in Everett, Washington. And Randy was kind of my mentor. He taught me an awful lot about customers, marketing, everything. Just he was probably one of the sharpest B2B and B2C guys that I've ever run into in my lifetime. Very, very focused, very diligent, and you know, he paid pretty well too. So
yeah,
he paid well. So yeah, I mean, I think in my career, you know, you always say there's people you run into that have an effect or an influence on you, and I think for me, Randy was really that guy. You either loved him or you hated him. A lot of people didn't like him because he was hard on you, or he was, you know, he's one of those guys, he'd just fire you on the spot if he didn't like something. But you learned, he had his reasons, and, you know, if you followed his plan, his formula, it would lead to success. Maybe I've always just taken a little bit of his plan and his formula and ran with it. You know, he taught me a lot, and that was back in 99, I guess that was 98 or 99. So only a short stint there, only like 2 years, but and then I got swayed by Larry, like we should build bumpers and beadlocks and cool stuff. You know, I was a kid, so I left good money for no money. But yeah, you know, it's just always kind of had a hand in it and loved it. You know, coming to Nitto, I mean, that was kind of a little bit by accident. I actually had taken a job with, had left the Australia thing and was kind of a little bit working for Todd Romano.
Oh yeah,
you know Todd.
Yeah.
Kind of when he took over the Hawk brake line. So I did a very short stint with Todd, moved back here to Seattle, or north of Seattle, and yeah, a guy named Tomo Mitsutani, who's our director, chairman of Nitto Tire, he caught me at SEMA and he just said, "Hey, what do you think about coming to work for us?" And I was like, "No, I've moved, you know, I'm not living in California anymore." And he's like, "Well, I think you should reconsider." I was like, "Well, I'm not going to move back." And he says, "We'll make it work." Okay. And we did. I mean, I'm pretty proud that really within our Nitto group, I was the first remote employee, that he put enough trust in me to work remote and get the job done. So that was pretty cool of him, you know, back when I started with Nitto now, 6 years ago. So
and now everyone's probably going to be going off pace. So luckily now it's probably all working out in your favor.
It's yeah, I had a head start. I definitely had a head start. I mean, it is pretty crazy. Our you know, our company, like most, are working remote, but we're getting stuff done. You know, we're getting the stuff done. We're efficient. You know, lots of Zoom calls, lots of conference calls. But that's amazing that, you know, companies can adapt and still move forward and profit. So yeah, it's good.
Yeah, I think in the future, I think it's going to change things. I you know, bad or good, I feel that, I mean, now look at you. It's funny saying all those years of like, man, he lives in Washington. I don't even know how it works. And now all of a sudden it's like, okay, everybody I know that works in LA is working from home. So technically, yes, they can now or be anywhere they want, and no one would ever care. It's just, so it's pretty, so now on that question, do you actually like so everyone knows you're in Washington. You like Washington?
I do. I live north of Chaz. I live north of Chaz, about 90 miles, in a place called Camano Island, Washington. So just it's probably 10,000 people out here on Camano Island. It's not really an island per se. There's a bridge. Like, it's not. I don't take a ferry or anything to get here. Sounds cooler than it is. But yeah, I moved back up here to get back to my roots. You know, some 6 years ago, just to kind of reconnect with where I grew up, bring my daughter back out of California up to where I was familiar with. So, kind of my old stomping grounds. So I could take her to places I grew up and things that I did with my dad and my mom. So, and in the end, that's worked out really good. It's been a lot of fun to bring her back to where I grew up. So,
yeah, it's cool. Well, obviously I'm from California and live in the Mecca of traffic. So
yeah, but you got some family up here. You got some family in Kent.
Yeah, for years. So it's funny. Like now, like the more it's just like everything else. As soon as you like start knowing one person, all of a sudden it's like, I have family. Oh, we go there. Oh, we go there. It's like everywhere there's one person, somehow there's like a clique of people, right? It's no different than every time you hang out at the North or Dread. Oh, you should come up to Washington. It's like, oh, that's where Chris lives up. Okay, like out of all the places you guys live, you're all in the same area. So it's funny how that always works out. So now on the schedule side of back to work and racing and traveling, how many like right now obviously things are a little weird, but like last couple of years, you travel a lot, you stay home, are you?
No, I do. So I do a lot of travel, probably more than I have to. I do enjoy it, and I do enjoy the racing aspect of it, and I do enjoy our brand and our teams winning. So I do try to attend as much of the racing as possible. When I'm here at the office, home office, I mean, there's a lot of paperwork. I dotted and a T cross type of thing, so there's a lot of paperwork, there's a lot of legal, there's a lot of all the behind the scenes tire politics that it all looks glamorous on Facebook.
Oh, yeah.
I'll tell you, there's no glamour behind the scenes.
I know how that goes.
Yeah, and I do head to the office once a month. We have some pretty intense meetings and marketing meetings, and we have a great agency that we utilize and we call on a lot, and some really good people there. So yeah, we do have a great team, and we meet face to face. But this year it's been a little challenging. I spent time with your dad up there in the Arctic Circle and Arctic Ocean, and came back and like Armageddon.
Honestly, that was like one of the bummers, because it's like I just come back from Dakar. I was tired, burnt out. Like I just needed to stay home, and I was like, then it went straight to the hammers. I was like, Dad, just go. And he was on the fence with everything we have going on at Currie Enterprises. And then, sure enough, now looking at it, it's like obviously I don't really regret it, but it's like it's bummer that it's like I could have taken that. I mean, that extra 10 days right there would have been epic, because now it's like my dad's smiling from ear to ear because he's going like, man, you guys haven't done basically shit for 3 or 4 months, and at least you guys went out with a bang and went to the most amazing trip. Kyle and my dad came back with tons and tons of stories, and it's like, yeah, we blew that one. And it's like we thought we were going to roll into Moab and all these other events, and it was going to be a crazy year, typical deal. And come to find out that here you guys went and literally – for you guys, you have a blast?
Oh, yeah. That truly, I mean, I like it for one that as a company, it's a great test of our tire. I think just getting all the way up to the Arctic Ocean, it's no joke. It's I know you had Lauren on. I listened to him talk about it a little bit. It's just you got to be on your A game the whole trip, because you're just putting down so many miles and things are happening so fast that you really got to just you got to it's a long trip. It's a lot of time out of the office. But when you're there and you're doing it, it moves really fast, and the sights and the sounds and people are amazing. I mean, it really is I would say it's a lot like going to Mexico. Like we all love going to Mexico, but very few of us go north.
Yeah.
No.
And
then the element of cold. I think we had minus 44 or 48 at some point when we were there at the Arctic Ocean, and that's just cold that you just can't even imagine. I mean, it's unbelievable. It's really unbelievable. We had to, it was so cold that you can't follow. It's just like dust. You can't follow another car too close because the airbox packs up with frozen dust. Like it's we had an expedition, the camera guys, and he's like, oh, the check engine lights are on, and I don't know, everything's going to hell. And we pull over and we're looking at it, and like, I don't know, but the intake is full of snow. Like, pull it off, and the whole inside box is packed full of. It looks like somebody packed it full of snow. You know, it's just stuff that you wouldn't run into down here. You know,
so
I mean,
crazy.
It's a good trip. It was a really good trip, and you know, we have great brand partners that attended. You know, you guys included, and yeah, really a lot of fun. I'm glad we got it in, because I really feel that we had, you know, King of the Hammers, and we came back from King of the Hammers, and we had Alcan, and then, you know, COVID hit, and it's kind of putting a little damper on things.
Yeah.
A little damper on.
On the trip, one of the things that's crazy to me is how my dad was saying how impressive the tires are that you're doing. I didn't realize, like, you drive 70 miles an hour on ice, and he's like, it's crazy because he's like, you wouldn't believe how good the tires work until you actually, and that's one of those selling points that you're like, no. When you go up there and you put the little studs in the tires, and the tires that you guys ran, and then my dad's going like, it's not a sales gimmick. He's like, if you ran on
He was a little skeptical.
Yeah.
He was a little skeptical.
Oh, dude. And I mean, well, think about it. We live in California. We don't even get ice ever. Like,
yeah,
you know,
true.
45
Maybe some slushies.
Yeah.
Some snow on the way to Big Bear.
Yeah, like, I mean, 40 degrees is basically, it's snowing, and our cars are going to freeze for us. So,
yeah. I mean, that tire, that was our Exo Grappler, right?
Yep.
So 37, 1350, 17 Exo Grappler, and that compound in that tire is, you know, it's a cold weather compound, so it doesn't harden up, stays fairly pliable in negative temperatures, and yeah, you drill every other stud or every other lug is you know, it's drilled, and you have studs inserted in it. The traditional snow tire stud, right? It's pretty amazing when you look down and you're just doing 65, 70 miles an hour, and it's a frozen road.
Yeah.
You know, and you have control.
Yeah.
I mean, you have good control. So
it
is cool.
Yeah. He was one that after that he was sold that now if you're gonna go play in the snow, you don't buy junk tires, like, because he was so I mean, we've all driven in snow with the wrong tires, and like, we don't own anything that, and now that we own a set of like good tires with studs, it's like, if we're gonna go play, we're putting these tires back on the car. Like, it was impressive. He was very impressed. He was very impressed on how
Your dad's always skeptical. Your dad's always like,
Yeah.
I don't know. You know, I don't know if that pattern's going to do good.
Yeah. No, it was blown away. He was sold, man. That's what I will say, that the one thing that impressive the tires were to be in that situation, you know. And yes, he said being negative 40 degrees is colder than anything you could ever imagine.
Yeah.
So
yeah. No joke. No joke. I was pretty excited that he came along, had a good time.
Oh man,
really.
Dude, trip of a lifetime. I mean, like, what's cool for like Kyle and my dad, like the video they made, like for myself, the video that we got to watch was like just seeing him have a good time, because he loves trips. He loves going on like Moab, Jeepers Jamboree. He doesn't really race anymore because obviously my crazy schedule of racing, and the challenge that, you know, he was so disappointed after the first day that he made some mistakes on the timing and how it worked. He was disgusted in himself that, I don't know, whatever he did wrong, but it was like, oh, every stop sign, he thought he had to wait, and he didn't have to wait, and it checkpoints, and he messed up.
Yeah, don't let your dad fool you. Like, he's got rally experience.
Oh, 100%. Oh, he came to win. Oh, no, it was fun. It was fun, but he came to win.
Hey, after day one, we were going for it.
Yeah.
Oh, so bad. No, like, I mean, he was definitely competitive on all. I mean, it's funny because just like we're talking, like, they were out there. The day before the race, he calls me, and he's like, they were just driving up and down the road with the GPS on the phone, making sure that the speedo on the Jeep was exactly right. So that way, when he's accelerating and deaccelerating, he's watching, because my dad's a numbers guy. He's phenomenal with numbers. He's one of those guys that it's all in his head, and it's like he knows that, all right, if I have to average 25 miles an hour, if I slow from 25 to 0 in whatever it is, 35 for 40 seconds, and then I'm like, how you do that is incredible. But Yes,
Yeah.
he had a blast with that, like a total blast.
Yeah, he's got the numbers in his head like Dave Cole. Dave Cole from owner of Hammer King or Ultra Florida. Same thing. Dave's a numbers guy.
Yes.
You know, he visually sees it, and he's
Pretty
it's good
impressive.
fun.
He had a great time, so thank you for that. But so now I got another question for you. All right, out of all the events you do in a year, if you're just a fan of Nitto, it doesn't have to be a race. Well, we got two questions. We're gonna go to an event that Nitto's at, that Chris Corbett is like, dude, best event of the year. Just love it. If you're gonna bring the family, kids, no family, what event would Chris Corbett be like, dude? Even if I wasn't having to work, or they said, hey, you need to go on vacation, that you'd want to go and actually partake in an event?
Well, that's easy. Hammers.
That's a race. That's a race.
Yeah, I mean, so let's start with a race.
Okay, so
I mean, as far as a race, Hammers, and I brought my family, I brought my kid there. I like the blend of action and relaxation. Like, you got stuff going on all the time, and you got lulls and things where you can spend time talking to your friends and your family and catching up, and it's the ultimate. I do enjoy that.
I agree.
I enjoy everybody on that like that.
It's funny because when I was in Dakar for 12 days, all we could talk about is how ready we are for King of the Hammers, because
it's different.
Dakar is like,
yeah, it's different.
Yeah, the social aspect, just like you're saying, the social aspect of King of the Hammers is unbelievable. Well, to me, all my friends from all the sponsorships and all the partnerships and all the just relationships we have in the industry. Yeah. I mean, Moab is a great example of where a lot of the big guys show up for the week to enjoy wheeling. But in the racing world, King of the Hammers, everybody shows up. Everybody wants to hang out. Look, it's not about getting the sponsor. It's not about winning the race. I mean, the first 4 days is about literally going out and hanging out and talking stories, fixing broken junk, and enjoying being in the desert around no one. There's no hotels. You're literally, if you want to walk around camp to camp, you can visit everybody. There's no one that's like, oh, we're here from 9 to 5 and we're out. It's like, it's a true experience for a full week.
Yeah, I agree with you. My top 3 or 4 events in the country, are that same format in a sense. Like I enjoy Moab. Obviously we do Moab every year for that same experience of just being able to catch up with an industry and a segment and find out what's new, what people are doing. I enjoy that. I enjoy SEMA for that fact. I'm still a junkie for tech and products, and I love walking new products and seeing the innovation, and people just come up with to problems, and sometimes they're not even problems. Sometimes it's just plain innovation. It's just, I love all that. So, and all, like all 3 of those are still bracketed around people. Yeah. My favorite saying is by Lee Iacocca. He says, business has 3 aspects: product, profits, and people. For business, he said, if you can have 2, but if you don't have the 3rd and good people, it's not going to work. Your business is going to fail. Yeah. And that's really true. And in every business, I mean, you got to have good people. The businesses that thrive and prosper and grow, I find, have good people and good products.
Yeah. That's actually funny. I have a story about that. I'm doing some research about my heritage with my grandpa being a very big influencer for myself and for my dad and my uncles. And, I'm trying to figure out what I want the motto of our company. For myself, obviously now being 3rd generation at Currie, is I've been watching a bunch of YouTube videos trying to figure out what I want the motto for the company. And I found a video that somebody posted of my grandpa doing an interview. And one of the things he says that I'm like, it fits Currie is, it literally is delivering a quality product and treating your customer as your friend. And I'm like, dude, that is it. And truly everywhere my grandpa went, he has friends. He was always one of the guys that would be at the campfire, drinking a beer, having fun, enjoying the stories, and if somebody had a problem, he's going to go out of his way to help fix that problem. And then when it comes to our own products, is delivering quality products. And it's like, just like what you said, it's funny because like I was just in a meeting last week about some business stuff, and that was one of the things that came up is like, what is your motto? And just like you said right there, no matter where you go, being around the right people and having a quality product.
I'm going to say the genes are strong there, Casey.
Yeah. So I'm a big people person. I don't like being alone, man. I got to have quality people around me at all times because, man, running fifth gear pin, but just like you, man, everywhere you go, it's truly our sport. I feel that that's one of the most amazing things about our sport is that, you know, it's not like baseball or football. Competitions a year, we're competing 8 to 12 times a year, but we might meet 20 times a year for different events. And that's where I feel the social aspect of it is truly unbelievable. I don't know of any other sport, including motorsports, that off-road guys can get along and go out. Like, I mean, for example, 2 weeks ago, I had no idea, but I went jeeping in Moab, and sure enough, there was Lauren Healy with his family, and then we were out jeeping, he was wheeling because he was in a Ford Bronco, but, you know, there we are, like, dude, having a total blast. Like, he was with his family, we're up there wheeling, and now it's, you know, no competition related at all, and we're having a total blast. Like, I don't know of any other sport that can go out and do that and enjoy it as much as you do, but then compete, you know, neck to neck and want to go for the win.
I agree. I mean, I think there is still within kind of this Ultra 4 Jeep social community, there's still a lot of camaraderie. There's still a lot of, unlike others. I mean, I have friends that are really vested in dirt bikes, you know, but they're kind of siloed. So this, you know, the 5 or 6 of them go ride. It's just the 5 or 6 of them.
Yep.
They don't really engage with other people, you know. So, yeah, I mean, I think every industry is different, but you know, I'll say in the Jeep and off-road, you know, community, it's different. I mean, people are always been more willing to help. You know, always been more willing to, you know, I don't know, and you know, it popped in my head. I mean, there's always bad apples, right? I mean, it's, you know, you and I talked about the side-by-side market and, you know, how you get one guy who just tearing up trail and doing that. And, you know, I think that happens in all communities, but the Jeep and kind of that off-road community, you know, and traditionally kind of looks out for itself as far as it self-polices itself, right? If you're out tearing up a trail in a buggy, you're going to have some guy in a Jeep go, whoa, you know, maybe not the right place.
Yeah, I agree.
But, you know, it's different. It's different.
Yeah. Now, I agree on that. So, okay, so now non-racing related. Obviously, we know King of the Hammers is the topper. I'm agree. I can't even. But now, non-racing, you do a ton of events. I actually did one. I got to give you 2 examples because I'm still a little jealous that now even for 2020 probably ain't gonna happen. But I had a great time with Mel Wade on, you know, the JKX experience last year. Phenomenal event. Mel does a fantastic job. You invited me. Dude, truly blessed to get to go. I highly recommend anybody that wants to go wheeling. He absolutely kills it. The second is you're a part of the CMAs. My wife is into country music. I'm into country music. All your story. I know, but it's like now, is it even going to happen? But okay, first, is it going to happen?
So the answer is yes.
It is.
The answer is yes. It'll be back for 2021.
Okay.
You know, they did postpone it this year. You know, like all a lot of cities, Nashville suffered a little drama. They will be back for 2021. It is fun because if you enjoy country music, it's all things country, and it's not just the top guys. You get a lot of startups, a lot of, you know, younger bands. You know, I always there'll be somebody you might see and not think of it, and then, you know, maybe a year or so later you hear a song on the radio and you go, oh yeah, we saw that guy, you know. But just the people, you know, country music people, sometimes they're their own breed, you know, they're their own person. They got a little bit of, you know, they're very loyal. They're very polite people, just can't say anything bad about it. And that event, is a a national, as far as the States, Canada, Mexico, Australia. I mean, they get people from around the world. I think they get 200,000 people that come in for the 4 days. It's a pretty unique event. Yeah, it's pretty unique. So we'll get you out there.
Yeah. I wanted to go this year. So because I I'm trying my best. I mean, I did hook you up at SEMA because I couldn't go to. I ended up
give me the Georgia line tickets.
Front row on the stage. God,
you didn't say that. So you give me those Florida Georgia line tickets, and I have to basically, Ryan Few who he runs our PMG, our agency that runs our on-site, and I kind of had to con him. I'm like, hey, come with me to this concert. It'll be fun. Florida Georgia line, like, I don't want to sit and nosebleed. I'm like, no, I think Casey says these are good tickets, right? So we get down there, and it doesn't say anything. It just says general entry, right? So we're showing her, and at each little turnstile we pass, the gal's like, oh, you just keep going down. We get to the next little guy, like, oh, this looks like general entry. Oh, no, you just keep going down. And so, like, it happened 4 times, and Ryan's looking at me, and he's going, man, are we going right to the stage?
Dude.
So, yeah, we get down there, and it was pretty good right at the stage there. And it's a pretty neat venue there. It's smaller, that's a pretty good place to see them. We had a short stint with those guys back in the day with some sponsorship stuff. They're an interesting group.
Yeah, no, for sure. But that, dude, for me, it was funny is that I literally bought the tickets like 6 months before the SEMA show, and it just happened to be everything work out. And then for me, last minute with the Currie split, I was like, man, I just can't go. And then for you to be posting photos, and it's like, you're at the stage. You are literally, there's no better seat, and there you are. Yeah. So that was fun. Killer. But
we had a great night. Thank you for that.
Yeah, that was killer. So, okay, so Chris Corbett's going to go to an event, and maybe it's not sponsor related, maybe it is, or maybe not business related, but what would be your top non-racing event that you would say you'd like to partake?
Non-racing, but it's got to be Moab, really.
Moab.
I mean, it's got to be Easter Jeep Safari. My first Easter Jeep Safari was 97, I think it was. I mean, and I've been to every one since.
Have you been to? You've been going that long? For all of them? Oh, it's so awesome.
Yeah. I may have missed one when Chloe was born, my daughter was born, but I don't think we have missed an Easter Jeep Safari. I mean, even when I was between jobs or have a reason to go in a sense, I still enjoy I enjoy the sights, the people, everything with Easter Jeep. The business aspect, it's one of those things that, like, if you were in the industry and you needed to find a job, go to Easter Jeep Safari.
That's a great idea. I agree.
You know what I mean? Go to Easter Jeep, go to SEMA. Like, don't not go to SEMA because, I mean, it's kind of repetitive. It's the same cars and trucks and all that, but, go because there's great people there, and, enjoy it.
Yeah.
For me, I would say probably Moab as a non-race event. I do enjoy SEMA. I do enjoy the catching up with people, catching up with the industry, seeing how things are going. And I do like Mel's JKX stuff. I do like that. That format, that comes from. It's not, he didn't invent it. The format, is an old Rick Payway format from
Ultimate Adventure.
Yeah, Peterson's four-wheel off-road adventure. That format we all loved back in the day, right? We loved going on this week-long adventure trip, wheeling every day, late nights. I mean, there was a lot that was really good about that trip. What sponsors didn't like and what some people didn't like was that, not everybody's up for camping 7 nights in a row. Not everybody's up for, staying up wheeling till 1 a.m. and getting back up at 5 a.m. So Mel's format of, some really good wheeling during the day you know, and a hotel and a shower and a steak dinner at night, it's a good format.
Yeah.
It's a good format. It for me, it's what it's all about being outside, enjoying it with your friends and your family. And, you know, you're still getting to do some good wheeling, see some places you've never been to, you know, like that trip we were on. I just heard that the ghost town that we were at there burned down.
No way.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
A friend of mine
heartbreaker.
just told me that the other day.
No way. Oh,
yeah,
that's
that was
terrible. That was an amazing, dude. That whole event, I had a great. I mean, dude, driving my Jeep into the inside of a rock, you know, into the cave deal was unbelievable. Or into the mine. Oh
Yeah.
man, dude, that like I would have never
That was
done
an
that.
experience.
I've done, you know, like we've traveled a lot of places on that. Yeah, he just did a great job, and I know he does them all over the place. Like the one this year is going to be in Alaska, which obviously is still a little weary because technically you can't even get into Canada right now.
No, you got to ship your vehicle. So it's round trip from Seattle here is about $1,700, $1,400 to $1,700 to ship it from Seattle. You could ship it from LA, but it's $2,100 or something.
Yeah.
So there is some incurred cost on it.
We'll see what happens. I figure once it's gonna,
You make it.
it's hopefully in the next couple weeks here, the things mellow out. So hopefully.
Yeah, I hope so.
So.
Lots of unknowns and lots of politics.
Oh yes, well yeah. Stay far away from those. So we'll see what happens. So all right, got another question. Most unique place you've ever traveled to for an event or a race?
For an event or for a race? Tough one. I mean, phew, boy.
Stumped him.
It's hard because some of the places I've traveled to aren't necessarily for a race, but maybe for work. And those places, you know, like I've spent some time in Mexico City, and I enjoyed my time there. I spent a lot of time in Australia, all work related, and really enjoy Australia a lot and the people of Australia. Took a trip to Japan for work. So, I mean, it seems like my wife gives me a lot of crap because sometimes we don't take traditional vacations. They're bracketed around work. So, yeah, I mean, it's hard. I mean, I don't have a certain favorite.
Yeah. Or most unique, like somewhere that was just out of the norm, crazy adventure to get there. See, for me, I'll tell you mine. Like we got to race in Morocco, and to race in Africa, it's like 12-hour flight, and then you get in a taxi, and you get in a taxi for 12 more hours, and you basically travel to the city where you test in, which is complicated, but you drive 12 hours in a taxi through the middle of the African desert. And then and then basically to get there, so it takes it's basically 24 hours of travel, and half of that is in a car driving through some crazy places. Like we drove through it was basically it was through a forest at like 12,000 feet elevation. And so we're racing, it's 110. And to get there, 6 hours before, it was snowing on us in the middle of the night, and they're saying, watch out for monkeys. And you're like, dude, where am I? Like, how is this happening? In one day, it's 110, and it's 28 degrees, and there's monkeys on the road. It was the craziest. And it's scary. And it's scary as hell because you are in the middle of Africa. Like, it's not, your phone don't work. You don't just, hey, I got lost and I'm out of gas. It's like there's gas stations every 200 miles. Yeah.
I can't say, well, only time I've ever really experienced that with no cell and long durations is in Australia, going up the Gold Coast, north of the Gold Coast. And you get in these I think we did like 75 or 80 miles at a stretch on the beach, and then we had to time it with the tides and then cut inwards, and like it was a pretty long 2-day it was 3 days, 3-day trip, and that was a lot of fun. Everything had to be planned, like, and those guys all knew, you know, you need X amount of fuel to get here, there's no fuel stop here, like, you know, it's almost like a trip to Mexico in a sense.
Did you like it? That's on my bucket list is to Jeep in Australia.
Oh yeah. Yeah. It has its challenges because there's not a lot of, at least there's not a lot of private land. It's not like they have like a lot of Moabs, that are public in a sense.
Yep.
So a lot is private, but it is pretty beautiful, especially around the edges. It would be the problem with Australia is when you really look at the distances and you really look at it on a map. It's like, whoa! I didn't realize that was 2,400 miles to get there. So,
oh wow, that is far. That is far.
Like you look at the map and it looks like a little island,
Yeah.
like Alaska or but it's bigger than Canada and America together. I mean, it's huge. So you kind of skew our map a little bit.
Yeah, I agree on that. By the way, anybody out there listening, if you guys got any questions, let us know. We're here to answer. And actually, Kyle has a couple questions, possibly for Chris.
Yeah. So, first of all, Ron Stobaugh wants to know, Chris, what's going on with a beard, and recommended a good, I think, shaving company, like subscription company.
First of all, no questions for Mr. Stobaugh.
And then Andrew Gorman followed up, why don't you have one, Casey?
It's my COVID beard experiments. I've never grown a beard. I've never been a beard person. I've just been home for 3 months. So I don't know that it's going to last, but
I grew one out. I grew one out for a little bit, turned red, and just it really just wasn't fitting very well. And my wife hated it.
I honestly have a full, this is for you, Ron. I have a full respect for people that can grow a beard because it's a lot of work. You don't just wake up in the morning and comb your hair and out the door. You got to brush things out and you got to beard oil it and style it. And, suddenly I'm like pushing my wife out of the sink area. I'm like, hey, I need in there. Like I got to comb the beard. So
that's awesome.
It's a lot of work.
That's awesome. What do you got, Kyle?
So Frontier Lifestyle wants to know, they're planning on building a Nissan for the 4500 class of KOH. They want to know any advice for a KOH rookie, and will we see KOH 2021 during all the COVID business, which I'm pretty sure it's happening.
Yeah. I'd say, we spent a lot of time in communication with everybody at Ultra 4 and King of the Hammers group, and I can't foresee as of today any reasoning why we wouldn't have a 2021. So I think that's fine. I mean, my suggestion for a rookie, go. It's hard to go to Hammers and do it all the first time. And what I mean by that is bring your car, your team, your everything, and just show up and never having been there. I do not suggest that. I mean, I could give you my example of failure in 2006 when I raced the Baja 1000, and I had never really raced the Baja 1000. I just showed up and I didn't really know what I was doing, and I set myself up for failure. I should have put more on the front side, just doing the research and familiarizing and being there and pre-running and look at course and terrain and everything else. So my advice is come and race for sure, but get there early and spend a little time on the recon front, because you'll meet people too that'll be willing to help you, So yeah,
I'd agree on that, and I'd also say that whatever vehicle you're going to build, practice, go out to the Hammers, run all the trails. It's all on Google Earth. You can basically download every, jackhammer, sledgehammer, backdoor, spooners, outer limits. You can run them year round. I'd go out there. I don't care if it's a summer or winter. You can go in the early. If you go there in the hottest of the days in the summer, if you get there at 5 a.m, it's cool enough. Go run every trail.
Yeah.
There's no reason not to run the trails. You can download the 2020 at this point map or 2019 map and basically get familiar with every trail you're going to run. And honestly, the way we do it, and shoot, I have terrible luck there. At this point, I have no luck at all there, we run every trail each way sometime between November and February, we try to go out there 3 or 4 times and actually run every trail both ways. And we can do it in a stock UTV. It's truly incredible what you can get done in a UTV. But if for you guys on a brand new race car, I'd drive that because that's going to be where you're going to find your weak links.
Yeah, agreed.
Anthony Schmidt wants to know, what is your all-time favorite wheeling vehicle throughout the years?
Me or Chris?
Either or.
Chris, go first.
Honestly, I really like the Jeep JL. I really like it. I like I've had TJs, I've had buggies, I've had Cherokees, I've had lots of different stuff over the years, but the JL is really it's really a fun rig just because it's got it does everything well. It's got creature comforts, it wheels good. It makes the whole family happy in a sense, and that's why I like it. That's why I like it.
I agree. I basically have everything now. I'm a hoarder of Jeeps. I got a TJ. I just bought my grandpa's TJ, so I got a TJ, JK, JL, JT. I'm very impressed with the JT. Obviously, I have 2 boys. I got bicycles. I got dirt bikes. I really was impressed on how well the JT did in Moab, even for the extra length. I did put the Artec skid plates on it, which helped, but very impressed with it. But same features, the air conditioning, the heated seats, having all the auxiliary switches in it. The thing is so comfortable now that's when I was like, oh, why would you go to Moab in the middle of the summertime when it's 110 degrees? I'm like, well, technically, the swimming pool is cold, and when I start my Jeep, the air conditioner is 72 degrees. It's actually really enjoyable to be in it. And it's like,
that's 100%. I told a friend of mine the other day, he was talking about what Jeep to get. And I said, get a JL. And I said, because the whole family will enjoy it. Everybody will enjoy it. Your kid will enjoy driving it. Your wife will enjoy it because she's cool and comfortable, and it's just it drives nice. Everybody will enjoy it. Yeah. So
I agree. I definitely agree. I did build one of the most unique Jeeps I ever built was I built an IFS JK, which
I remember that.
And then with a 4-link in the back, and it honestly was the most amazing thing to wheel. It's very similar to what Lauren Healy built, that Ford Ranger, and
so is the Bronco going to be a hit then?
Oh man, we'll see what happens. Obviously looking at Lauren's the Ranger, they modified a lot. That is very much an Ultra 4 car. Yeah. And if we're hoping that if bolt-on suspension and bolt-on axles similar to Jeep are capable, I think there's going to be a lot of people wanting to go to the Ford Bronco, only because I think there's a lot of Ford enthusiasts out there, right? Whether you're a Jeep enthusiast or a Ford enthusiast, I don't care either way as long as you're out Jeeping or wheeling for that matter. And that's where for myself, like I love the fact that the IFS, if it works and if it is capable and has performance upgrades available, I think it's going to be unique. I think that there's going to be bring more people, which once again, it comes down to the friends. Look, if I can get more friends to come wheeling with me in Moab, look, I don't want to go fast all year. I enjoy Baja, but I really love if I can bring more friends to Moab with me and go and wheeling, and I can spend more time in Big Bear on the Jeep trails. Like I'm all about it. And if I can get those guys come out, I'm a true believer that it can work.
Yeah, I agree. I think there's a market for the IFS, right? So, it's kind of like that when you're in the market for a Jeep, sometimes you're in the market for a Raptor, and you have that back and forth. You're like, do I want a Raptor? Do I want a Jeep? Right? They each have their attributes, right? Yep. I think the Bronco will have, the IFS won't be it's not going to be a rock crawler, a crazy stretched out suspension vehicle. But I think it'll be fun. I think, take the top off, lots of, some good suspension travel up front, comfortable. I think this blend of kind of this urban Raptor, Bronco thing could be kind of interesting. Yeah. So I agree. I think the market there'll be guys that'll love it.
But I think, and what's funny even about that is like, even on the, I get very techie pretty quick here, but like my JL that is, I have a 3-inch coilover with, it's got internal bypass. It only has 11 inches of travel. Everyone thinks you have to have a lot of travel to make things work. And, with CV angles on the front of an IFS, like even my old IFS, it only had 11 inches of travel in the front. And like when it's done right, I mean, yes, going fast, I get it. Like, yes, having the up travel, you need that to go fast. But like to go Jeeping, we all know that an IFS with non-portals works in the rocks, because look what's won the King of the Hammers for the last couple of years. Mine is this year. Look what's won the Hammers the last couple of years, right? It's an IFS vehicle. And I feel that without portals, and I feel that now with the Bronco coming, like we all know that straight axle is better in the rocks. My uncle to this day, super funny. My uncle is hardcore. Everything I do, he's like, dude, if you're going to run the Hammers, you need to go buy an Eric Miller chassis, and that's what you need to build. I've called Eric Miller like the last 3 years. I swear, before he won it this year, and for the last 3 years, my Uncle John is like, you go buy an Eric Miller chassis. I'm like, dude, John, I got to go. You want me to build a straight axle car for the Hammers? I'm like, I'm going to be into this thing 200-something grand to race one event. And he's like, that's the only way you're going to win. And sure enough, this year, Eric Miller wins. My uncle's like, you see, all this time, you're wasting all your time. Like, kill me.
Yeah. No, I mean, that formula, Eric's got it dialed in pretty good.
Yeah.
Got a pretty good finishing rate across all, if you look at the past 5-6 years of racing in his chassis, I mean, he's got a really good finishing rate in those cars.
But it all comes down to, like, you think that the performance of an IFS is going to kick everyone's butt everywhere you go. And, I mean, he truly shows that a straight axle car can truly go across the desert, because there's still 100.
With a good driver.
Yeah, there was still over 100 miles of brutal California desert with rocks, sand, chatter bumps, whoops. I mean, you name it, the Hammers truly gives you that all of terrain. And, I mean, we just showed that an IFS car doesn't always win.
So, no, I mean, look at Josh, right?
Yeah.
Josh Plyler went in this year. I mean, Josh, if you look at his finishing history the past 2 years, I think he was like 4th or 5th the past, 2 years. So top 5, I mean, pretty consistent, and pulled it off this year.
Josh actually, sorry, I got my Eric's chassis. Josh was driving. Kudos work. Kudos. He spanked.
Yeah, Miller chassis. I mean, they've got a good finishing rate, a good finishing order. So
now, but it just shows though, like this Bronco Jeep thing. Boy, to me, it's going to be an all-out battle. Come Moab.
Great for the industry.
100%. And for myself, it's good because, I mean, now I get guys like Von Gittin who, obviously Ford guys I'm working to come out Jeeping before. I mean, my thing is like, now I can get guys like that to come to Moab, and it's like, all right, here, you drive whatever you want, and let's go do, Hell's Gate and all these other, Pritchett Canyon, all these other unique trails that it's like, I don't care what you drive. I just want you to see this terrain and how gnarly it is in a Jeep that, I can drive. My wife drives my Jeep. She's driving it right now because her Tahoe's in the shop, and it's like we drive them every day. This is not a buggy. So,
agreed. That's our jail is my wife's daily, so she drives every day. I gotta pry the key out of her hand.
Yeah, definitely. Any more questions, Kyle?
Yeah. So, went through your favorite, but what was your guys' first? I know you've answered this once before on your live stream, but what was your first car or truck? Jesse Williams wants to know.
Go ahead, Chris.
First car was a lime green 77 Rabbit with 4-door with a bad starter.
That
was my first car. My first actual 4-wheel drive anything was an 87 Samurai. That was my first forte into the off-road world. And it had a little Weber two-barrel carb on it, and I bought a header for it, and I polished a turd on that one. I put a lot of time and money into it.
That's awesome.
So
So mine would be when I was 15 and a half, my dad bought me we bought a F-150 stock, and we were going to build a pre-runner out of it, but street legal for me to drive to school. And my dad built me like equal length beams. We did this whole deal, but I got it screwed up when my dad went on a work trip, and me and my grandpa ended up back halving it on accident. I cut all the leaf spring. My grandpa helped me cut all the leaf springs out of it to 4-link it, which then at that turned into a 2-year project. And my actual first car was a like $1,200 Ford Ranger, single cab, 4-cylinder, stick shift, pleather, sweaty. And yeah, I drove that for my first couple years. So I was a Ford Ranger bone stock until the pre-runner got done, and then I was
they never die. I just bought a Ford Ranger.
they really don't. They really don't. Anything else, Kyle?
So Jason with Ruby Cat, he wanted to let you guys know that he enjoyed being part of the 19 JKX with you guys, and just said, how many trips have you been a part of where someone got a mullet while you're on it?
That was good.
What was it? How many what?
How many trips have you been on where somebody got a mullet?
Yeah. Only my film guys.
There's only only one, Kyle.
It's funny because I got a UTV racer named Dustin Jones. He's very heavy into the mullet, and we got to be very, very careful where we go, because if your hair is long, dude, you fall asleep, you're gonna get a mullet. So that was an epic. Once again, like we said, that was an epic trip. We had a great time, and dude, meeting everybody on that trip, all the new friends we got, unbelievable. So we got one more. Kyle's got one more.
So you're talking about Morocco racing. Jesse Greenland wanted to know if it was worth all that trouble, though, going to race there.
Yeah. Everything was worth it now. Winning Dakar in 2020 was obviously probably my biggest achievement that I don't know if that'll ever be topped. So everything we did and all the focus and effort and time and money and just being away from my family for that many days to win Dakar is probably the biggest achievement I'll have in my life. I don't honestly think there'll be anything that can ever touch that event, and being the first American in a four-wheel vehicle to win it. So, yes, all the challenges of going to Morocco, because just so everyone knows how it works is that Morocco is the last event of the year in FIA before Dakar, and it's the first event that they whatever they're going to change for Dakar and whatever they're going to change for Dakar for the rules and regulations, they do at that event. So every single year when you go to Morocco in October, that is going to be the new way of what they're going to do in Dakar. So if you want to go and understand the new way of road books, the new regulations for like motor, like this year we got a new limiter in our turbo. We tested and tuned it in Morocco. They made some changes to printed like colored road books. They allowed us to do it in Morocco. So those getting all that and then being able to go home for 30 days and testing and just fine tuning, it's basically it's a must. So I would say yes, it was worth it because I won. If I didn't win, I would have said no, hell no. That's a lot of work. But yeah.
Any consensus, Casey, if they're going to have a 2021?
Right now it's on. Right now they're saying it's on. But I mean, everything is saying it's on. Morocco's on as well. Even though Africa's still in a state that it's on full lockdown right now, they're doing everything they can to lock in a 2021 Dakar. So we're hoping. So I think obviously we're all in the same boat. We're all kind of hanging out waiting. In the next 30 days, I feel a lot more is going to happen as far as what's going to happen globally racing. I think, with all these forms of racing opening back up and not opening up, I think they're learning what they can and can't do. And I think that's going to play into effect of what's going to happen. So we'll see. I mean, it's still 6 months away. So we'll hopefully everything kind of lightens up, and we can only hope for the best for everybody. And obviously for myself, the safety of my family and my team is most important to myself. So we're going to see in the next I'd say in the next 45 days we'll have a real idea of how FIA racing is going to happen. So
interesting.
Chris, it is dude, it's already 5:05. We're already running late. Dude, I appreciate the time, dude, driving line and Nitto. I appreciate everybody. Chris, once again, everything you do for the sport as a whole. I really, dude, I can't say thank you enough for everything that you've given me, my family, the opportunities, the great times, the camaraderie, the stories. Obviously, it's been an hour of just telling some stories of things that have happened. We appreciate it, and, man, hopefully we can catch up soon.
No, thanks for being part of our family, Casey, and part of Team Nitto. I mean, you and your family mean an awful lot to me and to Nitto, and yeah, we're really proud to have you as a partner. Really appreciate it.
Thank you. We've had some great successes, and dude, much going on. But once again, anybody out there have any questions, hit us up anytime. I can get a hold of Chris. We can get a hold of me. Dude, we're all about it. We love the Driving Line Nitto family. And thank you guys so very much for being on our live show.
Awesome.